I'm at a club. My buddy was he was going off to London, so he's having a going away party. So some quote unquote promoter came up to me at this party and said, "Oh, I work for Universal Music. I can promote your music. I heard you rap." Da da da. I said, "Oh," so I'm like, this was a few years back then, so I'm like real hyped, thinking, "Oh, maybe someone noticed me." So I said, "Sure." I gave her my CD and my contact. She linked me, and then we started talking, and then she said, "We're doing shows and stuff." So I said, "Cool." So I'm at this party. Tells me this, so I linked the promoter back. She's like, "Oh yeah, I'm doing this show, I'm doing that show." I do a couple shows with her. Blah blah blah. Shit happens. There's a lot of other artists who are on it too. Shit happens. Now, the promoter, one of the other artists started getting jealous at this promoter's paying too much attention to me, and like he's getting pushed to the sidelines. So he's like, "You know what? Fuck this guy. Who's he? Da da da. Don't put him on the show." So people are doing whatever they're doing with her as well. She's like a little whore in the area. So all of a sudden I get taken off the show, and I'm like, okay, whatever, fuck you. And then I said, and I knew who it was. This goof. I'm not even gonna give him any shine by even mentioning this goof's name. But so then the Eagles puts out a diss track, and then she starts sharing it and this bullshit. So I said, fuck them. I'm gonna start exposing shit. So I did that song. You heard it. The song speaks for itself when you listen to it.
Right, and we're gonna play the song. We have the song loaded up. We're gonna play it. But no, wait a minute. They did a diss track on you first.
Yeah, and they started sharing it on Facebook and all over the place. So
okay, so right there, without even going any further, someone disses you first. You respond. Now you're being persecuted for your response to a diss track that initially came at you first. Right there, without even knowing anything else, fishy there. In my eyes, as being an artist in this industry.
Yeah, you remember when I told you when we were speaking on the phone the other night? I said, if people get nervous down here, the first thing they do is call the police. So you can't even say shit. Hey, bro, it's a fucked up situation down there, bro. Like the so-called quote gangster, they're tattletelling and shit. But yeah, that's what happened. So this me, and I said, okay, you want to battle me? It's a battle thing. Let's go on. So I go and write my diss track back. It got a lot of views, it got a lot of shares, a lot of people loved it. And then this goof, another goof, I'm not gonna mention his name, he went and put a video behind. Like he's like, because he had a problem with her as well. So he said, "Oh, I love it, bro. I'm gonna put together like a slideshow and I'm gonna share it." I'm like, oh, whatever. This guy puts it together, shares it, and he puts some pictures of the guys with guns and shit on there or whatever he did. I don't know what he did, but. Now she goes to the police and says, "Oh, I fear for my safety." But the morning before she went to the police, she called me and left me a message saying, "Oh, if you're so tough, why don't you call me?" All the stuff, trying to egg me on to call her, I guess, so that I could fly off the handle so she could say I threatened her. I didn't call her back.
Right, she tried to bait you. She tried to bait you.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me you saved the message where she called you and did that.
Absolutely. Of course.
Good.
I saved it and I played it in court. That's the thing.
Good.
So I saved all that shit. I saved even because there's a lot of other stuff, but I saved everything, played it in court. She even at one point turned to the judge and said, "Oh, I feel like I've been set up here." And I'm like, "You wouldn't feel set up if you didn't do something wrong." I said, "You said a certain conversation happened. It didn't happen." So anyways, we go through all that. I got charged for three things. I got charged for criminal harassment, threatening death, threatening bodily harm. The trial, to go through the trial, I get found not guilty on threatening death and criminal harassment, but got found guilty on threatening bodily harm, a charge that nobody even argued either way at that point in court because everyone was focused on the criminal harassment and threatening death. Right. So I appealed it. So I appealed the matter. And now it's before the Court of Appeal still, so it's still going on. But I went for state funding, and this is getting a little bit off topic, but it goes to show how racist the system is down there. I went for state funding because I said I don't have tens of thousands of dollars to spend on an appeal, and the judge, in his comments denying my funding, said, "Oh, I looked at your website and I see with all your black athlete friends and your black celebrity friends, your music has a black macho flavor to it." I'm like, This fucking redneck, his judge's name is Quigley. He's a cock-sucking faggot son of a fucking bitch. Piece of shit, redneck judge, inbred piece of shit. I hope he hears this interview and what I say. Quigley from 361 University, a judge down there, a piece of fucking shit. This piece of shit, this is the racist system we have down there where it's not what he wrote it in his, he wrote this in his ruling. Like, this is how bold they are down there. They'll make racist decisions and think, there's no repercussion. There's nothing that can happen to us. He's a fucking piece of shit.
Now, is this something you brought up to the public with what he said before the show today?
Yes, actually,
I would be calling the news right away.
Oh, actually, and this is I'm going to direct everybody to watch there's a news website that covers racial profiling stuff. It's called The Pointer. They're covering my story. They sent the message out to the Attorney General, to the like a letter out to them to respond, give them a certain amount of time, then they're doing a story on it. Because this is almost unheard of. You don't hear judges in rulings bring race into their rule. It was clearly racially motivated, his decision to deny me funding. Because because my website has me with my black. It's not like I have white. I'm on there with white bodybuilders. I'm on there with all types of people of all race and ethnicity. But this guy just happened to point out, and I'll mind you, this Judge Quigley is a white guy. He looks like a KKK guy.
Right.
And then the guy's like, oh, and they commonly have a thing like these old white guys like to say, oh, you're so articulate. You never hear him call anybody else articulate except for black people because they don't expect black people to be able to speak proper. So this guy in his ruling does the same stereotype. Oh, Mr. John, he's articulate. He could defend himself. That's what he said. He can defend himself. He doesn't need state funding. He's articulate.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like he shouldn't be a judge to judge people like that. You know, everybody's supposed to be 100% innocent until proven guilty, and you're not supposed to profile people. That's why when they pick people for a jury, the first thing they do is give them a bunch of questions to ask. Hey, how do you feel about this? What's this about? I have jury duty in 2 weeks. And that's the first thing they do.
Nick, stop. Remember, he's in Canada. The United States justice system is different.
I get that, but I felt like I feel like Canada should still have those same type of rules, right?
But they're not going to. They're not going to.
No, dude.
You're comparing apples and oranges, bro.
It's a whole different country.
So
man.
before you go
up,
not what you're saying is wrong or ethically it's not the way it should be. But you have to understand you're comparing two different justice systems.
This is music. This is lyrics to a song. He did not do anything wrong. When you're battling somebody, you're coming at them hard. There's a whole industry dedicated to battling. I'm a fan of hip-hop. You know what I mean? Like, I get the craft and I get the art. I'm an artist myself. To the average person who's not part of this game, they may have looked at it differently. But what I'm not understanding is, and I know my co-host said, well, this is canon, it's not the same thing. It's a song. It's a diss track. It's a diss track that's responding to an original diss track. You're coming at the promoter in the diss track, you know what I mean? You're saying what you have to say. I'm not understanding why it's not left, I'm not talking about you, but I'm talking about by the people prosecuting you. I'm not understanding why it's not left at that if nothing actually happens to who you're talking about in the song. There's nothing physical happened. And by the way, this was 5 years ago. Let's not forget that. So I'm not understanding that. Great track, in my opinion, but definitely with some heart, definitely with some anger, but that's what you need to make a song what it is. Like that you need.
That shit would work here fine because everybody understands the diss track, whatever it is. But
I'm glad you say that. I'm glad you say that because I have a whole list of the people from the United States that also have been persecuted for their music. So I'm glad you say that. So it doesn't just happen in Canada.
A lot of people try to battle me, and I'll tell you the truth. I crushed them all because I don't just half-ass it when I do it. It has to be believable. It has to sound authentic. People aren't going to believe shit if you say, "Oh yeah, cat, hat, dog." Like you have to go at them and go at the juggler, which I did.
Exactly. And if you're not believing it yourself, no one else is going to believe you.
Believability. I have a line in there where I say, when the Hulk gets mad, he's Avalanche. Like, from that line alone, you could, obviously I'm not being serious about what I'm saying in the song because the Incredible Hulk is a mythical creature, right?
It's a metaphor, which is what a lot of hip hop artists throw in their songs. That's what makes it creative.
The song was directed at somebody else, at the other guy in the song. Like, her mom ain't dead, but I had a line that said, "I'm glad your mom's dead, fuck that bitch." Her mom's not dead. Her mom came to court with her. I had a line that she's white, this guy's black. So I said, so like everything I said was directed at this guy. I called his name. The only part her name was mentioned is her being a whore, and that's what she took offense to. Because that's the only thing. And then she said, "Oh yeah, well you calling me a whore means people could do whatever they want with me," and that made me feel afraid.
Did you represent yourself?
Yeah, I did.
Hearing the content in which you do speak, I can tell you have a good understanding. Do you think that this was to your benefit, or do you think that was because there is a statement in the world, and especially in law, that only a fool, the man that represents himself has a fool for a client.
Has a fool as a client.
Right. Do you think that hurt you, or do you think that helped you?
It helped me because my lawyer, who originally was on the case, wanted me to take a peace bond, wanted me to plea out. She wanted to go a whole different route, didn't want to put forth certain evidence. And I'll tell you what, down here in Canada, we have this thing called the Law Society of Upper Canada. It's a very corrupt organization. And the lawyers down here is like a big clique. A lot of lawyers down here are con artists, and all they do is take clients in the dump trucks. They basically they take your money and they try to get you to plea out. They don't want to fight any charges. I've been charged through my whole life 21 times. 9 times I had a lawyer. 12 times I represented myself. The only one time I lost once, but I went to a court of appeal by myself and won it. The only one time is this recent charge here that I lost. And I couldn't have no lawyer could have put forth a better argument for me than what I did, because I beat 2 of the charges. I'll tell you this: the only 2 charges that were argued in court was criminal harassment and threatening death. So those are the only 2 things I argued against. I was found not guilty on those 2, and then the judge went above and beyond what was argued. Said, "Oh well, you know what? There's evidence here that you threatened. It was meant to intimidate, so I'm finding you guilty of that." I said, "Wait a second. The Crown didn't even argue the charge of threatening bodily harm. The complainant didn't articulate any type of fear of physical bodily harm. She said she was afraid she was going to get killed." So I said, where the hell did this finding of guilt for this come from? So this is part of the basis for my appeal.
All right. Well, I have the article where they actually tell you. They talk about you in the article, and I'm going to read some of it right now, just to keep things moving. Okay, now I'm not going to say your government name. We're not going to do that, but this is the article. Now this is from cbc.ca, which is obviously a Canadian website, and this is an article that was sent to me. And I'm going to read part of it. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's, we're not going to get into all that. I am looking at it shows the girl. This is the girl as well. I don't know if I should be saying her name. I'm not going to say her name, but
don't give that bitch any fame.
Right. But the main quote is it says, "I'm always looking over my shoulder. It made me really unsteady." Now, without saying anything else, this is a girl that's supposed to be a promoter, right? She's in this game. This is just something that you just keep that in mind. All right, she's a promoter. So here we go. The sentencing hearing for a Toronto rapper convicted of threatening a music promoter was put over Monday until next week, following a tearful victim impact statement. Avalanche the Architect appeared at the Finch Avenue Courthouse in June of last year, was guilty of threatening to cause bodily harm to his former promoter through a rap video for his song "Got Yourself a Gun." So right there, they "Got Yourself a Gun" is obviously a Nas song, and not that maybe doesn't matter, but again, they're making it seem in the article that it's your song, you came up with the title for the song. Right there, that makes it look like, you look guilty. You know what I mean? Without even explaining that this is from an artist that's known worldwide. The song is known worldwide. It's been on the Billboard top 10, and a long time ago too. It's an old song. You did a song which is a diss song back to the diss song that she released, or that I guess one of her people's released, coming at you first. This is what I'm not understanding. I'm not understanding. Like, this is part of the game. If she's a regular person that's not part of the game, then I can almost understand, okay, some scary-looking guy, because Avalanche is a scary-looking guy. Isn't it? I mean, you know, and I hate to say that, Avalanche, because you're one of the nicest guys. But, I mean, when you look at you, you look like you're in the WWE. Big dude. So I'm sure, and I hate to say that, but I'm sure that plays against him in this situation. Because he looks like...
It's profiling, regardless if it's racial profiling or anything of that nature.
And that's the point I'm making.
Profiling regardless.
Well, I mean, he was just saying that the judge was a redneck that talked him down on him because he was black. You don't think the fact that not only is he black, but he's also a big dude probably doesn't play against him to this judge too?
Oh, sure. It's like the Green Mile all over again.
Right, exactly. It's a Green Mile all over. It's a perfect way to look at it. And I just, that's what it seems like to me, and that's what I'm not getting. If she's just a girl... that's not part of the hip-hop industry, that's not a promoter, that's scared that, this big tough guy puts lyrics in a song, now she's scared because she doesn't know him and he may actually hurt her, that's one thing. But she's a promoter. She's in the game.
Yeah, I just want to say...
She makes money off hip-hop artists, off shows. That's what I'm not understanding. That's what's pissing me off about it. If you're a promoter, you know the game. Whether you're in America or whether you're in Canada, it doesn't matter. You know how the game works. You know what a diss track is. And let's not take the fact that the diss track was a response to a diss track that was sent to him first.
And as per the threats of physical violence, there weren't any. You were calling her out on being a hoe, and that's fine. At the end of the day, if that made her feel bad, it is what it is. What it is.
Yeah, but a hoe is not being said, hey, I'm going to kill you, or hey, I'm going to beat you senseless, or I'm going to break your bones. That is not being called a hoe. It's not the same thing.
How
many people... Hey, the word thought has gotten so popular over the last 3 years. When I forget who it was that came up with the word thought, but everybody uses the word. There's the person that came up with the word thought. Are they in jail right now? I'm just wondering if the title... of that particular beat that Avalanche used was his detriment, because the song is called "Got Yourself a Gun," and I wonder if they used that against him in court.
Of course they did.
Hey,
of course they did.
They said it on the website that it's his song. Yeah, it's a fucking non-song. That's a fucking non-song.
It's funny because I brought that point up in court too, because the Crown tried to use in his closing submissions, trying to say, listen to the title of the song. And during the trial, I already pointed out, I said, this was a beat that I rapped over, which in itself was a battle track, because he was dissing Jay-Z in it.
Jay-Z, he's dissing Jay-Z. Which, by the way, side note, I think he won that battle.
He did.
He won that battle. He won that.
But Jay-Z won the war because he signed Nas. Yeah, but Jay-Z won the war because he signed Nas, and Nas makes him money now. So let's be real.
All right, I'm not going to argue that, but back to the Avalanche thing. I just think that this is like fucking. I feel like children are like fucking like judging this situation. Like, it's a freaking song that belongs to not just another artist, but a song that's by one of the most known artists of the '90s, who battled with one of the richest artists of today. That he's on the freaking radio.
You got to realize, if I always say, and a lot of the people who seen this and some other people who covered it even said it seems racially motivated because, and I'm not saying it seems, it is racially motivated because Eminem, as I told you before when we were speaking, Eminem should have been charged 20 times over for that song Kim he did. Like,
right, and actually have that. That was actually, I was going to bring that up. Why? Go ahead, Easy. I know you want to. For
2 reasons. One, the United States Constitution does not state that. Does not state that those caveats. So you're comparing apples and oranges. Yes, there are similar standards.
Well, what about Tupac? What about Tupac? Hit him up.
Also,
same
United
thing,
States.
right?
Also, United States.
No, you can't say that, because if you look at a case of Vontae Skinner, that went to the Supreme Court in New Jersey. They used his lyrics because he actually referenced something that they said they referenced not an actual crime he committed, but because he was speaking of something. He spoke of a crime in general, and then something happened to somebody in real life, or something like that, or something along those lines.
Well, no, but see that again. That now here's on that logic. If Tim would have wound up in a trunk and thrown in the river, then they would have used that song to try to convict Eminem for that crime. That's different. Or if, for example, Biggie was shot, where they were referencing the shooting of Biggie, and then Tupac would have faced those charges because of the reference.
I think the gang thing plays a big role too.
In America, they use the music as basically a character reference.
A character witness. Yes, it's a character reference.
And they use it against the rapper. And this is where I'm going to point out, because Eminem was charged with a gun offense. He was charged for having a gun on him. They never used his lyrics when he went to court. And they never even entered it as potential evidence. But they did it to Rod Diggs. They did it to Vontae Skinner. They did it to Lil Boozy. They did it what's his name? Master P's brother.
But Eminem didn't. No, but here's the thing: Eminem didn't fight the case. He pled.
But he would have got that. Like they would have used, when you get charged, they give you down here they call it disclosure. I don't know what they call it up there, but they give you tell you what they're going to be relying on as evidence. So he would have. So it would have came out even before even if he didn't go to trial, it came out of what they were using as evidence, and that was never what they were using as evidence against him.
Here's the thing: they didn't have to. They didn't have to have evidence against him. He was caught with a weapon. I know what you're trying to say, but he was caught with the weapon. He had possession of the weapon. He pled guilty right from jump. He admitted to having the weapon. There was no reason for it. This was an open and shut case. He pled out, like you said before. If you had committed a crime and it was a chance to do hard time for that, you would have admitted to admitting the crime, and you would have taken the lower sentence. He pled down. We don't know what would have been brought up against him in the disclosure aspect because it never got that far.
All right. See, again, you know what? You're right in one thing. Canada and America is different, so I honestly can't argue with how this thing works, because, again, when I was up there, I was much younger, and thank God I didn't get in the system. But down here,
here's the thing. They've tried to, within 24 hours, they try to get you a court date. Like, you get arrested, they try to get you a court date, if nothing else, to see if it's going to go to trial, it's usually within a 24-hour period. And at that point in time, that's when
they give you a prelim in the 24.
Exactly.
In
that preliminary hearing, Eminem pled guilty.
Okay.
Right. So that's why.
Yeah. That is what happened. That is what happened. I get what you're saying.
When you go to appeal, you have this place called High Court, it's 361 University, where you go and you do all these applications and some trials and stuff. I went there to get the funding. The judge who was overhearing the funding, this racist bigot Quigley, he's the one who made the comments about, I went to your website. After the Crown conceded, by the way, the Crown conceded and said, listen, we believe he can't afford legal funding, so we're not contesting that point. The judge overrode the Crown, which is not on my side, it's on their side. And then he went and did his own investigation after the hearing was done, and then he reserved his decision. So he didn't make that when I was in front of him, because if he said that in front of me, I'd have cursed him everything out, whatever. So he made that decision in his chambers. But then and then that's when he went on the website, and which you're not allowed to do. You can't have a matter that's completed and then decide to do your own private investigation after. That's a clear apprehension of bias, which I'm arguing is why it's denied funding.
Right.
I hate to cut this off, but I actually have to go now because I have to go grab my daughter.
Oh,
that's all right. That's all right.
Go do the dad thing, man. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, you do that thing.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you guys so much for the hospitality.
Yeah, awesome, man, awesome. Definitely, and I'm sure we'll talk. We'll talk soon. So, by the way, Avalanche, I'll clip this interview too. This will be a much longer one, but it's and we didn't get into a whole lot of other artists. But that's fine. I mean, we got the meat and potatoes of everything tonight, and I am leaving this conversation more in tune to what's going on and more knowing. And it's just we at the show, and of course me personally, wish you the best of luck with this. And we got your back as far as the radio airplay goes. And we talked the other night, so I'm sure we're going to talk again. But we're rooting for you, brother. We're rooting for you.
Oh, man, bless you guys. God bless you guys, and salutations.
Bless you as well.
Same to you,
Good luck, brother.
All right, thanks, bud.
All right, take care.